All right, I call the Village of Lake Park, July 8th, 2025 council meeting to order. Ask Mayor Pro Tem Scaldera to lead us in the invitation.
Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight with humble hearts, grateful for the opportunity to serve our community. We ask for your presence in this room, guide our decisions, discussions, and actions so that we may reflect wisdom, integrity, and compassion. Lord, we lift up our neighbors in Texas who are enduring the hardship of devastating floods. We pray for protection over those in harm's way, strength for the first responders, and comfort for their families facing loss and uncertainty. May they find peace and restoration in the days ahead. Grant us the clarity of mind and unity for purpose as we carry out the responsibilities entrusted to us. Help us to lead with grace, listen with open hearts, and seek the common goal above all. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anybody sign up for public comment? Anybody like to speak? Now would be the time for Judy. So,
I just want to say thank you for your kind consideration the 4th of July. Looking out after the elderly that need chairs and hot dogs and located in their vehicles aren't where they're supposed to be. Because it's kind of fearful sometimes. You think, if I fell, how long would it take for somebody to miss me?
right.
Yeah.
Just know we've got eyes on you.
Oh, yeah, my kids are all saying, who's that? And they're looking at this ring phone, and I said, I don't know, I can't identify him.
We're glad you were good. Thank you. Mr. Joseph Thomas?
And Doris.
Hey.
I'm Doris Thomas.
Good, how are you?
I have a friend, we live on Alton Street, 900 Alton Street. And been a little bit disconcerted because I just wonder who it is among us who warrants the courtesy of a response to email on the official website. We have emailed you, maybe Mr. Mayor. And we just don't get a response. And also the coordinator of the events for our Friday nights, and we don't get a response from her either. And this has been since September. And I just wonder, is that common, or is our email getting lost someplace?
I would say that I try to reply to any email that comes in from a constituent day and night, and I've done it at 2 in the morning to 7 o'clock at night. If I get an email, I reply to it. Now, if it's going somewhere that I'm not getting, do you have an example or a copy or the email address?
Yeah, I came into the office here and I spoke to the young lady that gave me VOLP events at Lake Park, NC.gov.
That wouldn't be for Jeremy, that would be for Lori.
Yeah,
That would be for village events.
And then
The Friday night events are HOA events.
and then I copied the mayor.
Can you expand on the?
So I was asked to provide entertainment music for Food Truck Friday. I've done it twice. So last year, I ran into the person in charge of selecting people to do the music. And I was told that I got to get you on the calendar. We got to get you on the calendar. But I was never put on the calendar. So then this year, I texted that person. I didn't hear anything back. So then I came in and spoke to the young lady in the office. And that's when she gave me the email for VOL, the events email. So I emailed that May 29th. And I haven't not heard anything. I checked my spam and my regular email and I have not got a response.
And we're not pushing our will, to provide entertainment. But what we are asking for is, again, the courtesy of a response. If there's something missing in the service that was provided, understandable, but just let's know.
Yeah, and just so you know what Joe's saying there is true, that the Friday night events and the village itself, us as the government, we don't have any events where we bring out music. A DJ, that's would be it, like, we had a DJ July 4th. The live entertainment, we don't do, that's all the HOA that does that, which is total separate from the village altogether. I know that sounds strange, but it is. And there's a separate email address for that.
And is there
Entertainment.
a better email address than the one we?
Yeah, use lakeparklori@gmail.com.
Okay, so I have her phone number, I didn't text her.
Well, I'm not gonna just sit here and, talk about everything, but she's had a lot of medical issues.
Okay.
She's had a lot of health issues. She's, gone through some surgeries and broke her foot. So she may not have been responsive as it was. As you probably remember, I DJ too.
Yeah, you're not.
And I tell you, there's been a lot of, there's just not a lot of response for DJs. I've moved into doing music bingo and trivia for them because they have more response out of that than they have had DJs. I guess because of diverse music, I'm not quite sure. But I'm not saying that's why she did or didn't get in touch with you or.
I just
what,
see,
but-
I look at the calendar and I see there are Fridays that there's no entertainment, no music. And it hasn't been like that in the past. In the past, it's always been someone providing.
I can't speak a whole lot about it, but I do know that she has put a lot of emphasis this year into one-man acts. Guitarist out there. She's had a lot of interest from that. A lot of people have really been happy with that. But I would get in touch with her. I mean, I remember she was happy with your performance.
Yeah, like I said, the only reason I remember asking because she said, I gotta get you on the calendar. So that tells me she was happy.
So she appeared to be happy.
But then I'm having a hard time getting in touch with anyone that will respond. I just want a response.
What email address would you have emailed me from?
No, I did, like I said, I copied you. I did.
Yeah,
I sent it to the VOLP events at lakeparknc.gov. That's the email I was given when I came in.
Sure, but I'm saying, what's your email address? Because I want to go search my email for you.
Mine is Tarrant, as in Karen, TARENTT, HOMAS @yahoo.com. Tanner Thomas @yahoo.com.
And what day did you send to me?
I said 5/29.
Okay.
5/29. So,
So that's TarrantThomas@gmail.
no, Yahoo. Tanner Thomas @yahoo.com.
But there's only one T.
There's 2 T's in the middle.
Okay.
I know you've been in.
Yeah,
Honestly, I
yeah,
can't swear if it's that or something else, but yes.
Yeah, I came in and you said, you live, I told you Alden, he said, that's where Kurt lived.
Yes.
Yeah, 4 houses down from
Yeah,
Kurt.
you're down the street from Kurt, yes.
Okay. So, can you, Scott Darrell, can you give me that email address again?
Yeah, lakeparklori
Lake Park, Lori?
@gmail.com.
Okay.
It's just LORI.
LORI.
Yeah, I just, when I come drive by on Fridays and it's quiet, and no music, and I just think that it'd be good to have some music playing. People did respond when I played the music.
Right.
Several people told me they were happy with it. So, and then, like I said, there's some Fridays there's no music, it's kind of dead.
Yeah.
And I come out and I buy food, I support the activity that's going on out there.
Sure. Good deal, we appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much.
I'll search my email and I'll send you one tonight too, just to make sure you
Okay,
can click reply and get that one back to me.
okay, all right.
We appreciate it.
Thank you for hearing me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? In your packet, you have the minutes from the June 10th regular session as well as the June 10th public hearing. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. You also had the consent agenda sent out in the packet. Anybody want anything pulled? If not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Mark made a motion.
I'll second.
Take choice on the second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Any changes, additions, or deletions to the agenda? The only addition that I would say, and I've added to the slide, is under public services, streets and sidewalks. there'll be a slide with some signage that Bruce is looking to get approved. The number 2 will be addition of signs. 13D2. That's all I know. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Motion to approve.
Jim made a motion,
Second.
Joe second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Sheriff's Office for the month. Deputy Tetro, how are you?
I'm good, you,
I'm fine.
good, looks like we had 3 alarms, general calls for service, 56, preventive controls, 536, traffic stops, 38, self-initiated, 41, and citations, 8 in that.
We'll say right quick, that bottom line is new. Sri and I have talked and decided to add, report monthly, the Lake Park citations that get written.
That's not warnings, that's actual
It
citation.
could be either one. That's just
Either
a
one.
citation in general. Some are warning, in fact, it's about half and half, I think. Some are warnings, some are, or second warning or tickets. Any questions for Deputy Tetro?
So you had a few people pulled over last week, you're.
Oh, yes. You'd be surprised how many registrations are 2 years old for here, yeah.
This is a matter of transparency. A couple board members had asked me to reach out to the Sheriff's Department about traffic stops. Did that 2 weeks ago. Talking to Lieutenant May, good conversation. Everybody's on the same page. There was some confusion. I think some folks thought that both deputies work at the same time. So it'd be very rare it'd be something odd going on. Both our deputies would be working at one time. Might be an off-duty event, you might see one here and the other working the event, but generally speaking, it's one deputy or the other that's here. So, any questions? Thank you very much. Anything we can do, that's not.
Thank you.
Be safe.
June statistics in the fire department, 204 total calls, 3 fire safety events, 7 alarm battery changes, and I was pretty impressed with the smoke alarms installed. And that's not just in Lake Park, obviously, that's in our fire district. Anytime you can put an alarm in, that's a good deal. Did get an email from Johnny today, Chief Blythe, with an update on the station. So they are in hold formation under the duress of the town of Indian Trail. They are not allowed, they do not have a certificate of occupancy. So, there's been some confusion on Facebook about, there've been a bunch of questions of why they haven't opened fire department. But they do not have a certificate of occupancy, and right now it's tied up through stormwater issues. So until they get things worked out with the town of Indian Trail, which is the town that land is in, they can't occupy the fire department or start operating out of it. They hope to have that rectified soon, but they've hoped that for 2 or 3 months now, so
Local tables, number fire.
where they still stand.
Makes no sense.
Finance officer's report, Sharon?
Okay, you have the June reports. The June reports are very preliminary because there's still things going on for June. We haven't been reported yet. We will get a little bit of more vehicle taxes, we'll add the loan tax. I did approve the state shared revenues, so those numbers probably will stay the same. The daily swim fees and to some extent the season pass pool fees. I have not been able to reconcile the May bank statement nor the June bank statement, so those numbers will change. We will get interest on the PAL bill funds too. I haven't gotten that bank statement in the mail yet. As far as in expenditures, it looks like at this point, now I think I have a couple of bills to pay, but as of July 1st, we had about 152,000 left in appropriations for storm waters. Most of the budget accounts were pretty good on. We're like over $200 in pool management fee. I did make a budget amendment for June. I moved $1,000 from contingency. Of that, 114 went to legal services, $71 went to water sewer, and 815 went to the pool management fee. So for the year, at this point, We used about 943,000 from fund balance. At this point, we have about $1,350,000 in fund balance. Start the year. You want me to go on to the sales tax?
Any questions on the June financials? Cheryl, the income, total income says 61%. Is that because of the state, what the other incomes that are not?
A lot of it is because when we appropriate fund balance, we don't show that in the state, it's not a revenue, so we don't show it.
Okay.
So that's a lot of it.
I got you.
I mean, if you look at property taxes, they're at 100%, stormwater is 100%, state share is 101%, so most of the individual ones are.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Cheryl on the June or the year in review? Sales tax.
Okay, sales tax. An item came up recently in the finance listserv. What we've always done is when we pay sales tax, we can get it recouped from the state once a year. So instead of charging it to the expense line item, I charge it to receivable from the state for the sales tax and I write the check. Well, Karen Malonzi published this in May 12th, that she went over laws and stuff and said that budget requirements and all, that the budget ordinance must include an appropriation to cover the full cost of the expenditure, including the sales tax, which is different than what we're doing. And then she's saying that we would also budget the reimbursement if it's expected during the budget year, which would offset that expenditure. So we've never done it this way. Every other town that popped on the listserv, we're doing it the same way we were. Then I checked with the auditor. So then somebody checked with Greg Allison from the School of Government, who's the accounting guru, and he's pointed out that the GAAP accounting does not include the sales tax as an expenditure. But here, they're saying that we should include it. So there's going to be if we go to the new way, there's going to be a discrepancy between the GAAP method and the budget method, and it will be interesting. So at this point, there has been a lot of talk, and a lot of people aren't doing anything. Some are, my only thought was I have to keep track of it too, so that we can get it reimbursed. And it would be getting kind of convoluted where I would have to charge to a line item, and then I'd have to also have like a contra, because you don't want it to show up in your things, but you do want to keep track of what it is. So adding about 4 different entries on every sales tax that we pay. I need to stir up the listserv again. So I stirred it up one time, and I'll stir it up again and see if there's any advice or whatever. I did talk to the auditor, and she was like, it's really not material for us, but I don't know, it's just a questionable area. So I'll follow up and probably come back to you in a month or two.
Right.
I probably will go ahead and charge it to your line items, and then we need to figure out which line item, some things you buy, you don't have sales tax, and some you do.
So our big problem is what we budgeted. We already took sales tax off, correct?
Well, we didn't budget for sales tax,
Correct.
right? Mhm.
And then you charge it to that account, and then she brings it back in, it's gonna come into miscellaneous revenue somewhere, you're gonna have to
Right,
do a
sales
budget
tax
amendment,
revenue.
move it back into that line item. So it's-
Yeah, the interesting thing is, though, it says if it's gonna come in next year, but anything we spend this year won't come in until a little more than a year from now. So for the first year, we might be caught with just the expenditure and not the revenue. So
Any
anyway,
questions on that?
It's crystal clear.
How much is our sales tax?
probably about 6,000 to 7,000. depending on what we
Nothing
spend
major.
on.
Anything else, sure?
No.
Thank you. All right, item 10, stormwater update on the Christopher Channel restoration. Want me to
Please.
do that? So you saw my email that came out, over the weekend about the Christopher Channel. It was finished about 2 weeks ago. Go over and look at it, concrete, it looks great. To me, the form of it looks even better than Frost Court does. Of course, this was the second go around, so it was the second time doing it. It looks very good. It's functional. If you talk to the people up on the top end towards Churchill Pond, there's a couple of those that talk to Cherie that live up that way, and it's moving water. Well, it moves water until it gets down to that riprap transition right there. So I think he put in around 600 feet of concrete, 585 feet, somewhere in that range, from Churchill Pond to that transition point. It's just like what we thought, it's just like what we knew was gonna happen on Frost Court. After we did half of it, it got to that dirt part and then it's gonna start backing up. We did the rest of it. The hopes from the engineer, if you remember, we didn't use Eagle Engineering for this. We used the local engineer, give him a shot. He's a Lake Park resident, so he cut a little bit of break on his fees. He did not want to take the channel on down to the mouth of it, which is in the far right picture there. He was afraid of the velocity of the water in the concrete. As this thing backed up and neighbors started calling and went out there and looked at it, I talked with Matt from Eagle Engineering, asked him, would he give us some advice, come look at it. He did. He went out on site and he agrees that velocity could be something to worry about, but there's ways around that. And the way around it, the first way is to make the channel wider with concrete so that it has a wider path to slow its velocity down with more volume versus velocity. And that he would certainly recommend that it be continued on, likely not all the way to that mouth, but there's a second inlet point that's about right where this photo is, probably right about here where a pipe comes in from Hoop. And he would probably take it to there just a little bit further so that there is still some storage area in the riprap rock itself. But the channel would be double the width of, almost double the width of what's over there right now to control the velocity. Matt is out of town this week, so he went and looked at it and he gave us from an engineering standpoint, because it has to be engineered for the construction to go there and do this thing, is a not to exceed quote of $9,100 for them to engineer it and tell the contractor how to build it. They do believe from some preliminary shots of inverts that they took that there is room, if they needed to even dig out further down here to make this lower so that they can have even more fall to get the water down there. You can't get below the pipes because then you're in another problem. But Matt does not believe continuing the channel will be a threat to Crest Circle. Kevin is went over there. They couldn't meet on the same day because of scheduling. They plan to meet, if council approves this, they plan to meet next week out there on site to look at it together, come up with a game plan, engineer it, and get going with it. The only thing that Kevin could give also, because he doesn't know exactly what Matt's gonna come back with the engineer to do, was a not to exceed of 82.5. So I just did some quick math to, just so you could show the Frost Court, that channel length was around 450 square linear feet. The total cost for the construction was $141,000. Christopher is plus or minus 800 feet with total cost of I did 129, which is what we paid, or 129.5 plus 82.5, 212,000. And it's a much wider phase 2 in Christopher than Frost or even what's over there at Christopher now. So I was just trying in my head to rectify a per linear foot cost, just to be able to compare. So Frost was $313 a linear foot. Christopher, this price would be $265. which I think you would expect a longer channel, the longer run, you save a little bit money because you're.
A little bit easier
project,
access
A little
there,
bit
too.
easier access there for sure. So the unknown is, we don't know what we're talking about tonight, other than and I say we being Sheree, Bruce and I have talked about this, and all three of us have been out there and looked at it. We believe that it does need to be engineered and continued on to wherever the engineer says it needs to go with concrete to make this thing flow.
Are we gonna be able to get this engineered and constructed before the end of the month? Will this be on this year's budget, or just gonna go into next year?
This would
We're in the
be
new year.
We're in the new year.
Okay, so, okay,
June
I
30th
thought June 30th was in, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
is done.
I think it's good to know, Jeremy had me go out and take photos, he says, we could do it when it's raining. When it was pouring rain, it was pitch black, I'm not going out there, I'm not the kid I used to be, and I don't do a good backstroke if I fall in, but I went out the next day, about 13 hours later, and that's how much water was standing. Still, in all that heavy rain last week.
When did it rain? I was in town.
That's Saturday?
No,
No,
I
no,
was in Savannah still, so it was Wednesday or Thursday.
Cause I know when I walked Sunday morning, I noticed it was still wetter. I was like,
Yeah.
yikes, that doesn't look good.
Now, I will say this, that Matt said, that I didn't, it's not Peter Mike, I'm not an engineer. This is a different scenario than Frost Court. Frost Court's moving stormwater to a pond
Right.
from Frost Court and behind their houses. This is going pond to pond. So he said you can expect for a few days after rain for that channel to be flowing, because Churchill Pond is deliberately and slowly letting water out to move it on to Veterans Pond, and lets it on out over to the other pond. But it
this
shouldn't back, but
Yeah.
it shouldn't back up like
This
that.
wasn't even flowing, it was trickling into the riprap, it was just because of the height.
but the
difference.
problem is, because I was standing in the rain, it must have rained Tuesday night, and I was over there Wednesday morning. Because Wednesday morning, right where the two meet, it is forming just with the amount of rain, well, we had heavy, well, you don't, but we had heavy rain. It's beginning to form a scour hole, so you cannot, the system is not functioning like it needs to be functioning at all. So whether you concrete it, which is the best case scenario with the fall, and if we can make it wide enough, or right now, with the way it's meeting and all, you're going to have some major significant erosion within a very short period of time.
Matt did say that if you wanted to go there and do something temporary, that's actually his photo number 3 where he circled. He said at the transition point, that could be dug out and mucked out and graded a little bit more towards the red circle down there. And he also feels like that the riprap is high right there, that could be taken out and reworked. So I asked Kevin, what if we did that? He said, what's that do now? He said, probably $7,000, $7,500. He said, I'm just being honest. If you ever think you're gonna do it, you're just wasting that money to
It's a
We've been
temporary
down that one
fix.
do that,
before, so
Yeah, it's a Band-Aid at
it's
best.
been a waste every time we've done that, so it makes much more sense to do this. Do we have a promotion on this?
Yeah, the monies are in the budget, they're earmarked for other things, so later on we'll
Well, we have a new budget.
agree, I'm saying, but yeah, that.
That's exactly what I was thinking, we've always had to appropriate it, but it's the first time in a while we have.
We have a new fiscal year. And we will probably, just like unfortunately last year, we ended up appropriating fund balance to pay for some stormwater. We will probably be in that same boat in the not too distant future. But I will say, to not do this is not the best use of the taxpayer's dollar down the road. It's gonna cost us more to fix it. We either pay now or we're gonna pay more later.
We've got to figure out how to get the full scope of these things in the future and not just piece them like this.
Well, and it's very difficult, Steve, I mean, and you can appreciate this, it's very difficult to, when you're running these channels and all, first of all, it's new technology for all of us. these concrete channels. They've only been being recommended in the last 5 years. And then until you see the rain that we've got moving through, if we hadn't, if it had been dry, we'd have thought we were done.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, or fortunately, we've had enough rain this season that it's showing the flaws.
We just gotta get a best case and worst case on these quotes or something, so we have a clear picture of
Well, you give it,
what we need.
We
I
tried.
don't disagree, you hire an engineer and you think that what he tells you, it's hard for an engineer to give you best and worst. You
This
think
is-
he's gonna tell you what you gotta do,
This is the
right?
second time we've done this,
Right,
right?
yeah, two different engineering firms, so.
Two different engineering firms, second time we've done it within 2 or 3 months.
Joe actually asked me over the weekend, is there any such thing as getting an engineer to post a bond, so that if they, but I think that they're kind of like doctors, that they carry some malpractice insurance, but it's very hard to, although it's a science, it's not an exact science.
Right.
Yeah.
The
You don't
only
know
other-
what you don't know.
Yeah, and the only other suggestion would be if we, and you hate to think of it this way, but honestly, if we had looked at, the first number from Christopher and said, okay, and I'm just gonna put a number, $100,000, let's
But
double it. And figuring that.
Yeah.
And maybe that's on us, that we need to do that. I can't answer that for you, but I can say that these channels, and this is a longer run, this is the first one between 2 ponds. It's just different as to how each one functions.
Yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't.
No,
need to
no,
be
I
done.
just, I
It's
don't
just
have
we
an
gotta get
answer
better.
for it.
Unfortunately, it seems like it's just one of those things, it's a process. We gotta do what we know and see how it works from there. That's how it's been.
And from an engineer's report, this is what they said, to leave that riprap towards the 2 drains, so it
To slow
wouldn't
it.
rush too fast and overflow the banks.
It's not.
It's not. No.
It's not
So-
overflowing.
We
It's
left the
backing up.
riprap based on recommendation. Here we are.
I'll make the motion for, it's Eagle Engineering for this, right? For Eagle Engineering for $9,100 from Stormwater Engineering for not to exceed for engineering the Christopher Channel continuation project.
I'll second that.
Motion second, any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Then I'll make the motion for KC Site Concepts for $82,500 for not to exceed construction for the Christopher Channel.
Motion second, any further discussion on it? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries.
This might be a stupid question, but would it help any to increase the capacity of one or more ponds so you don't have as much water moving around?
You're talking to increase the capacity in one of the ponds is
It's all
a
depth there.
multi-million-dollar opportunity. Yeah,
We asked
asked
about
that.
on Frost of,
increasing
Mhm.
Versailles Pond,
yeah.
what that would do, and
Matt said you're.
So, because we have to go depth, not necessarily banks moving over, it has to be depth.
Problem is that the whole system's engineered for the level, so if you drop a pond, then things don't flow right or flow backwards, that's the way he described it to us, is it's engineered at the
with the
same.
structures,
with-
the outlet structures and all.
But also, when you start digging, you don't know what you have down there for material, and you don't know if it's gonna contain or hit a spring and come up in your other side.
It's almost
It's
like
a
you have
good
to,
idea, because I thought it over there, and he
Yeah,
said
we
you're that
asked.
big one.
it's like you have to pump almost the whole pond out, so you have a better visual as to what you're gonna be doing to make depth greater. Which would, as Sherry said, multi-million-dollars.
He said it would be expensive.
Sheree, update on the stormwater grant?
Well, I attended a FEMA conference last week, and I'll be very honest with you, I came away very discouraged because we cannot tie the stormwater mapping project to a catastrophic event. And yes, there's lots of funding available from FEMA for catastrophic events, but not for our type of event. I am still working on it. I've been working with the gentleman at the state. I'm going one more round and see where we are. But I came away very frustrated and discouraged because we're avoiding a catastrophic, potentially a catastrophic event. But I can't tie it to Helene or the tropical storm that just hit in eastern North Carolina or anything. But these major rainfalls are impacting the system. So,
I've heard similar sentiments from other towns about similar things.
We're still in the running.
we're still in the
Still working on
running,
it.
but I think my little area is getting smaller and smaller, so I will keep you posted.
Thanks.
Back truck operation.
Oh, that was cool. They were out here 2 days and things that they removed and cleared, it was well worth the money spent. They took 2x4s out, they took tree root sections, and as you can see, to the right is what the areas look like before. And then after the vac and clear, those are what the pipe sections. So you definitely cleared and improved flow through the system in those areas. Now, those were the worst, and that was 2 full days of work. And then after, to be able to see inside them like that, they were imaged by Eagle, so that we knew that everything was clear. And the great news is we're not seeing any major misalignments in these sections. So that's a big step in the right direction on those. They were just literally, I mean, how do you get a 2x4 down in the storm drain?
So
In that third picture, you see how high, I guess,
the water.
the
Had been,
you know, it's like, yikes.
Yeah.
So it definitely improves the flow.
The one that was on the slide last month of tree root.
Yeah.
That's where they said that thing ended up being 20 foot long of tree root that had grown in and down that pipe that they cut out. I mean, that's just.
It's crazy how to do that. How about, any fiber lines? Are we knocking anybody's internet out?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
All right, and then Sheree, discussion on the top 5 areas to address.
Okay, so as we look to plan for this year, the Eagle Engineering has provided the worst 5. Now, there's one other, and we touched upon it last month over Alden Pond at the end of Truman. And I'm still not convinced that that doesn't need to be on our list, depending on what our repair cost is, because I'm very concerned about that area. But you can see, so the top 5, you've got basin to basin on starting 4102 Mother Teresa. We've got a total disconnected pipe and it's offset. So the engineering for that, you've got the 7411 conifer, you've got an offset. Both of those are under the road. In the corner yard of 4006 Alden, they have a big flower bed there. But the pipe is broken. Between 3905 and 3907 Lincoln, it's under the road, and then once again, the pipe is broken. And then in the front yard of Central Church, the pipe is completely separate. So water is not moving through there at all. So Eagle provided a price to do the engineering. What I asked for was I wanted the drawings to be able to bid, to get multiple bids on the projects. And I also wanted for them to, once the repairs were done, well, when the project was underway, I wanted them to be, checking on site, making sure it was being done correctly, and then to camera it after the completion of the project, so we have an as-built of that structure to maintain our mapping within the village. And so they provided a price of $22,500 to do that. for these 5 projects. And so I would like to come to you guys tonight to ask for we don't need all of the 22,500 at this point because, you know, we're not using the small section of, the project's not built and it's not cambered yet, but knowing that those costs are coming, the engineering for $22,500. And then once they complete that, which hopefully will be in 2 to 3 weeks, it could take up to a month. Believe it or not, we're not their only client. Then we'd like to get quotes and then be at the meeting, you know, to come back to council and then hopefully to do the repairs August, September, early October. We were very fortunate last year. We actually could work into November, but I just don't know when it's gonna start raining.
Do you recall how much we budgeted for engineering?
I was gonna ask you that, we got 30.
Let me go check.
This thing, Sheree just said it, that just dawned in my head. She's talking about the projects going on and Eagle coming out, that includes them density testing the roads, if we got to replace road, it was an all-in time and material not to exceed, so the hope would be it's.
You said you weren't asking for that all tonight.
No,
How much
I
you
am.
want-
I'm gonna
Okay.
go ahead.
You're asking for all of it, but you're
I'm
not
asking,
spending it all.
I'm not gonna spend it all for a little while, but I'm asking for all of it because there's no need of us having them do the engineering aspect of it and put them out to bid if we're not gonna do the engineering during the actual
Right.
repair and then to update our maps.
We budgeted 30,000, so you've already taken away 9,100. So this would take you over the 30,000.
How much do we need to move?
Well, you're not gonna earmark the total dollar amount tonight.
Are we going to?
We're going to.
We're going
No,
to. There's not spending it all, but we got to earmark it, so we have to appropriate
Misunderstood.
But I guess you need about
3,000.
about 12,000.
Oh, that's right. You said 30,000? We spent 9 already.
Yeah.
Okay. So 12,000. All right, I'll make the motion to move $12,000.
And you can just move it from repairs to engineering.
You want to do repairs or you just want to bring it from general fund?
How much is budget repairs?
Just leave it repairs. We'll be doing it. We'll spend that money anyway.
We
So
have 175 in repairs.
we're going to spend that anyway. So we'll just be doing the same thing again.
Okay,
So
so
it's
one
just-
for-
Yeah, make a motion to move $12,000 from fund balance to stormwater engineering.
Second.
A motion second, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Then I'll make a motion to spend $22,500 with Eagle Engineering, not to exceed, for the top 5 repairs.
I'll second.
Joe made a motion, Steve second. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Park and Recreation, July 4th celebration went very well. There was a lot of people out there. The weather, you couldn't have asked for much better weather for July 4th. It was not Joe and Steve.
Joseph, thank you.
The humidity was way down, so it was a great event. We served 350 hot dogs, chips and drinks, 400, maybe more ice cream cups. A lot of games and prizes that went on out there, and of course, crowned Zach Hill. He's one of you guys' neighbors over in Alden, as our hometown hero. So, good event. Update on the pool financials, membership revenue to date, 63,106. We had budgeted 64,000. Walk up 15,265. We had budgeted 21. The early season weather definitely is going to be a factor, even after Cheryl gets the credit card reconciliation done. You saw from her email, and as she said tonight, that number will come up for the final audits. But the lack of, we didn't have any summer camps, still have it, right? No summer camps.
How many summer camps do we usually have, do you know?
We used to run 2.
And last year we refunded 1 because they didn't come or.
They came half the
came
year.
half
and
the
stuff.
year. And then again, the early season weather was not good that first weekend of May. And we'll continue to watch that. Water leak over here at the community center. If you came in tonight, you probably saw a cone back there at the corner of the pool, right where the Paul Wolfcow sign is. We're fairly certain there's a small underground leak there. It does at times dry up completely, and you don't see anything. And then I noticed this morning that you could see some water out there. We've had a plumber out here. He is gonna have to, likely gonna have to dig up that corner and across the sidewalk, headed back towards the meter. We replaced that same line to the building last year, but he went in the backside of the building with the pool house, and then he caught that line over in the, on down in the flower bed there. So that line is likely degraded the same line in the same manner that it had before. It was just a major leak last time. So we're watching that, and it will come up as a repair at some point in time. Our next meeting is July 28th, and we welcome anybody who'd like to come. Planning board, Steve.
Yeah, we didn't have a June meeting, and our next meeting will be July 15th, so next Tuesday.
Public service waste collection, Jim.
Two things. One, things remain the same with, Waste but, last year I had a education budget and I didn't appropriate that for this year. But we got a quote to create some paper flyers of the calendar, fiscal year calendar. And, you know, it can be distributed when the newsletter gets distributed. And that quote came in at $305.80 to create 1,100 flyers. And that allows us to have someone to take a look here. Or anyone else who wants to come in there. But I don't have the budget for that, so I'm asking to, I'm just gonna round it to $310 out of fund balance into, waste collections. For that, and then, but,
Is that a motion?
it's a motion.
Jim's made a motion to move 310, Joe second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I know it's under the $1,000, but I'm just gonna ask to appropriate out, up to $310 to create these newsletters.
Jim's made a motion.
Second.
Steve seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Streets and sidewalks, Bruce.
Well, the sidewalk repairs are done as of late this afternoon. I spoke to Kevin. They were doing one last section on Creft here. In fact, they found a section that wasn't even in the budget, which he tore out and replaced. There's not gonna be additional charge. And the good thing is, we didn't have to take down any trees. And so far, the method of using the rebar and taking out where major roots have to be taken out seems that it's going to do the trick and keep everybody smiling. We hope. That's done for now. There's more, but that's what it is for now. Weather really didn't hold them up too much.
Right.
That's what's slowing down.
Town hall signs and no outlet signs.
Okay, the town hall signs are in the process of being done. There's gonna be one that'll be placed on the outside of the front, but not on the door itself, but on the wall, and then one on the back wall, which gives the hours of when the village office is open, and if they want to make a separate appointment in the afternoon, it'll be stated right on there. The no outlet sign, that's gonna be over on the end of Balsam, where it empties into Kenmore and Mayhurst, which are dead ends. But it seems, wily kids, teenagers, what have you, like to take the existing one that says like that, and they just bend it over in half. And I've straightened it out at least 4 times, and the metal is weak to begin with, and it's even weaker now. So we're gonna get a stronger metal sign done up and put out there. It's gonna be reflective like the stop sign, so. What's been the bad part is with that sign folded in half, people are under the impression that they can get out. So they go either flying down Mayhurst and around the bend, and then they come flying back out, because now they're ticked off, or the same thing happens when they go down Kenmore. They spin around the circle, step on the gas and go like blazes and get out of town. So hopefully it will alleviate what has not been an accident yet, but could be sooner or later.
$423.26 fast signs.
That's for the 2 signs installed. Three signs, I should say. So.
And that's under $1,000. You wanna make a motion, just cover it?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we cover the 42326 town hall signs and the no outlet sign.
Motion,
Motion.
Second.
Jim second, any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Lighting and electrical, Joe?
Well, fortunately, we didn't have any major issues in June because we didn't have any money. So that worked out well. Now, if we have anything, but everything worked good. Couple of outages on the street lights, but that's all we take care of.
Ordinance review.
All right, here we go. Ordinance Review Committee did not meet last month. We will be meeting in 2 weeks. It's, the first day of the month was a Tuesday, so we're on the third Monday, so we're not the week after like normal, so we'll be on the 21st. Mark has brought up to us, Mark's done what he does very well and spoke with the community. And there's a lot of talk about asking for us to form a solicitation ordinance. And we have looked at this before, and we've had, there were several questions, and I put down what the questions were from the past. This was probably 4 years ago or so when we originally talked about it. I talked about it with David Cleveland when he was mayor, and we came up with, a couple things that were not the easiest thing to come around. And especially if we did it by permit, like has been suggested, if we had permits that were issued for each one of the solicitors to have. And we have a lot of issues with how to administrate it, how to enforce it, and what's the village liability on permitting people to do that. Can they be able to answer a little bit more on that? Because the question that was up before is, if we give somebody a permit and they're recognized as somebody that we've okayed and something bad happens, use your imagination. What could happen with that? Or even the opposite of it, if we deny somebody a permit, is there an appeals process? What goes on with that? Can we be, saying we were discriminating against them? The simple fact is that the towns around us right now that have the permits are much bigger and have a police force to use it. That's how it's all administrated and enforced with it. We don't quite have that. With that being said, I'm asking right now, council, what do you want the ordinance review committee to do? I would myself recommend us to work off of forming a solicitation ordinance that has rules and regulations to it, and work with that first before we go through trying to do the permitting process. We're going to have a hard time permitting and having a hard time enforcing. So if we did that to give some hours of operation, what could be done, you have to abide by any no solicitation signs, or you're in violation of the ordinance. That would probably be a lot easier for us all the way around. So, real quick, do we want the ordinance review committee to move forward with it, and how would we want to do it?
So, question. When it comes to permitting, would there be a reason why not to have someone do it?
If they didn't, basically, there'd be qualifications if they didn't adhere to that. The towns that are doing it are doing background checks. And I guess criminal activity, prior complaints, all kinds of other reasons. Again, that's something that's harder for us because we don't have a police force right here, to do that and how we would work it. But a lot of it is off of the criminal report background check.
So you're saying if we did permits, right, then it could put some liability on the village.
There's a question about that in both ways there too. Permitting somebody and something happens, hey, they were permitted by the village. Right. People get a sense of comfort when they say, hey, the village is okay.
That's right.
Well, I was just thinking if you're not permitting it, you're just, they're notifying the town's giving them saying, hey, you notified us, we know you're out there. No, not a permitting process, but a notification process.
A quick thought from you, Ken, on the permitting.
I tend to, this is gonna be coming up the last several days, but I tend to agree with Joe about the administration and enforcement of it tends to be more applicable in the larger jurisdictions. I submitted various as quickly as I could get to it, what kind of the enabling statute is for the state, and also a template for something that might address these issues. And I think that template gives you an idea of how, detailed and in minutia you could make this if you want to, versus making it more of a simplistic. And I would suggest a more simplistic, you can't do this, you can do that. And because I think the permitting aspect of it does create another layer of, which comes up all the time with its infrastructure issues.
So your question, bottom line.
How do you want me to move on?
So you're talking about doing perhaps an ordinance, a nuisance ordinance that somehow incorporates this?
Well, we are already working on a nuisance ordinance.
Well, yeah,
And we could actually, well, I don't know that we can put solicitation inside of that, 'cause it's a different statute that allows for that. So we probably have to have it.
Reference them all within the same.
Within the
You
same-
could do it,
We
but
could put it
it's probably a
into
little cleaner to think separate.
I think it would be smarter to do it separate, because if we have to go back and change anything on it, which we would probably, I mean, we've learned with the parking ordinance, that can go forever, so, you know, I would say go with a separate ordinance. And with this ordinance, we will control hours of operation, hours of what would be allowed, you know, if they can, if there's a no soliciting sign, they'd have to abide by that, you know, say, no, you gotta go. You know,
Again, how do you enforce
That's, now, it is, we do have regulation from the general statute, so after we write the ordinance, we can take it to the sheriff's department and say, hey, will you enforce this for us? Okay, of course, it would only be our 2 deputies to enforce it, but we can ask the sheriff's department to enforce it for us.
And Jim, a lot of times with that, as I think we all recognize here, enforcement becomes a matter of complaint driven and approached by an officer to an individual says, you can't do that here, you're gonna have to stop. And that kind of serves the purpose that you're seeking to serve in and of itself, versus we're gonna issue you a citation, we're gonna take it through the administrative process. And while you can still do those things if you want to, the more, again, kind of simplistic approach can solve that issue. But again, Joe's right, you're gonna have to have a little grace set over it by the sheriff's.
As it sits right now, if someone has a no soliciting sign on their house and somebody's bothering them, they call the police. All the police can tell them to do is leave that house. So then they go to the next door neighbor and the next door neighbor. If we have a policy against it, we can.
And that's,
Don't believe.
and that's what the sheriff's department would tell you now, is they would say, well, we can't tell that person to leave right now. We can't. And if you do have something that for them to hang their hats on, it may very well be receptive to that. I obviously can't speak for the sheriff's department. I would think that something like this would be something that they wouldn't have difficulty with, as long as it was kind of very black and white, you know, thing to do, in terms of the clarity of things. But yeah, I guess you never know.
We're doing it in Trail, they've got.
Yeah, do they
Think they would.
That's it, so.
When you talk about if someone has no soliciting on their home, isn't there a way we could put signage up as people come into the village?
Means nothing unless we have an ordinance for it.
Yeah.
Unless we have some.
I was thinking more of a.
A lot of HOAs put up, no soliciting signs, and it means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I think they work, I think they need to work hand in hand. It's to have something that's ordinance in nature, but then they can piggyback on it with the signs. Because that then again allows your enforcement officials, who are the sheriff's deputies, to say, see that sign right over there? You know.
That's what I was
And
thinking.
that tends to
maybe it could
get
be a
those
first step.
problems in the bud.
So we would need to write the ordinance that if there's complaints, the sheriff can tell the solicitor to back it up and.
I don't think you need to have included in it if there are any complaints. I think that that's a natural course of what the legal regulation is, whether there's a complaint about the need to enforce it, but you don't have to reference it as the gravamen to actual enforcement.
We do, all of our ordinances do have a enforcement and administration section
They
on
do.
it, so we can.
Yeah, but you know, if you've got the sign, no solicitation, and you have the ordinance to support that, at that point, you're trespassing. So you need to leave their property.
I understand that. I'm just looking at it when you said, you know, the sheriffs could say, how do they enforce it? What is it, what rule are they gonna use to say, back up and leave?
So the rule would come from the existence of the ordinance.
Right.
And remember, I guess from my perspective, my presumption is what you're attempting to accomplish is the cessation of the behavior or the activity. And so you've got two mechanisms. You know, I call and say, hey, this person's at my house and they're soliciting, we can come over here and do something about it. That's A. B is the officers patrolling the streets and see somebody that's obvious to them that's engaging in that, and they know the existence of the regulation, they'll self-initiate, you know, some directive about a cessation of the activity.
Well, on that second note, this is what I'm talking about. They can only initiate that if we're complaint driven based upon complaint.
No, I don't think so. I mean,
Why?
it's kind of like I can complain now about a lot of people speeding and they can go enforce it, but if I don't complain, they can still enforce it.
Yeah, but we're allowing solicitation here, what is there to them to stop the solicitation?
Hours that they were doing it. If we had a restriction of an hour and they were doing it after 8 PM or something of that nature.
Yeah, you're right. I was thinking of it as kind of a blanket kind of thing, you know, you do that is bringing up, you know, slivers of allowance versus not.
Right.
Right, and I think I think that's probably a good idea while you let the committee kind of flesh out, over the years, they served, I think, a pretty good purpose for fleshing these things out about what would be most applicable for your community and what might not.
So again, where do you want me to go?
So even if we had, quote, an ordinance where they basically, okay, you can do it from 9 to 6 or whatever the case may be, there is no enforcement. I mean, basically, because the resident would have to call up the police and say, there's a guy at my door or a woman at my door, you know, trying to sell me roofing or whatever. And it's like, by the time that the person leaves, it's history. I mean, you might catch them a few doors down.
I hear what you're
Well,
saying.
that's the whole thing is you have cause for doing it a few doors down. Right now, there's nothing they can do about it. If you walk up to somebody's door right now and it says no soliciting at their door, and the police, and they stay there, the police can tell them, or the sheriffs can tell them, move on, and they move next door. And they move next door, and they move next door. If we have rules behind it, we tell them, leave. You've broken our ordinance, you will be, you know, there'll be a whole enforcement section and penalties and everything else to it, so that they will move on from.
I think it's probably it's a little bit difficult. I think it's kind of what you want to accomplish, which is have intermittent merchants of this nature be deterred on the front end by knowing they've got to come here and seek permit issuance before they even start their activities. And that makes sense. I think the reality, the kind of practical reality is people that are engaging in that conduct are ones where they're not going to ask to start with, and they're going to rely on the crutch of, I didn't know any better. And so you're still kind of stuck with this somewhat, I guess I call it burden on the citizen to report what's going on before there's a responsive action to it.
So, just to go down this road here again for a second, if, I'm not using the word permit, I'm using the word check-in. If they come to the town and they check in and they give, here's what we're going to be doing. Even if they have a badge saying, hey, this is who I am. If there's complaints, Sheree or the town will have, hey, here it all is, and then you have that from the sheriff.
You know, I mean, again, it sounds like walking down the path of a permit and being some degree of a permit versus like that thing that I provided you with. It says they're gonna do they need to fill out an application that states what their criminal record is for the last 10 years. And, you know, it just kind of depends on how much, you know, detail you want to place in it.
I'm looking at that as saying there is a notification. You have to notify, you have to notify the town, this is what I'm coming into you doing this. We have some record of it. If there's complaints, if there's something that happens, we have information that the sheriff department can say, hey, you're violating this, goodbye.
Right.
That's all. I'm not looking at anything.
No, I
permitted.
understand. And so I think that's just kind of part and parcel to what would be hopefully developed in a way where you could have dialogue about what that content or if that given type of mechanism might fit, might work well.
And I think step one is this council saying yea or nay, do you want ordinance review to look at it? Do you want ordinance review to look into a solicitation ordinance?
Ordinance Review Committee's been working their backsides off on this nuisance ordinance. And I think it would be better to get one
So it would definitely be it would definitely be in line.
Yeah,
Yes,
I don't
it
think
would
it
be,
should be involved at this moment, because you still got.
We have to complete what we've already, our task that we've already
Exactly,
started,
so I
absolutely.
say something for down in the future, near future, far future.
Which still means there's time for everybody to do research and to tell us that, but, you know.
Yeah.
It was brought up, so I wanted to see how we wanted to move forward with it, and if we wanted to talk about it down the road, we can.
That's what I
That's
was
perfectly
saying,
fine.
down the road, let's get the one
We
ordinance
get the
in place
nuisance
first.
ordinance out of the way and then
That's
move
my
forward.
feeling anyhow. Yeah.
Steve?
I agree. I mean, we need to get that one out of the way.
Yeah, basically, it's just, there's been enough complaints on social media that, especially against one or two companies that are apparently rude and this, and they won't leave, and they badger these people until they answer the door, stuff like that. It's a problem. And if basically, I'm bringing this up as to, is there any way we can address this issue? Whether it be by permit, whether it be by just general ordinance, whatever could possibly cease this activity, at least somewhat. And of course, again, it's always the good weather that brings these people out, so they're not gonna be out here in January, February, March, April. So, yeah.
Let's hope we have it by spring then, okay?
Yeah.
I'll say, I don't mind putting it on the ordinance committee's to-do list. It's just not gonna happen in the next.
No.
Yeah, we got at least 3
That's
months
what
before
it's
we're
not
working
gonna
on
happen.
the
It's on the
nuisance
to-do
ordinance,
list,
yeah.
but
It'll be ready for
it needs to be up and focused. right?
later.
Gotta get the nuisance ordinance for.
But I don't have a
Working
problem
diligently
putting it on and having it come back with items that we discussed here.
There we go. We'll move forward. That's all I got for ordinance review.
All right. Technology?
No real new news with technology, except for if anybody needs their voicemail password reset, let me know. So I got Steve, did you get that done?
I did.
Got Steve's set up for him the other day, so if anybody needs that, just send me an email, I'll help them out.
Special project update, Sheree, the land.
We should start seeing some activity over there. The pre-construction meeting went well, and there's certain clearings that can be started. So you will begin to see some activity, but they're mostly working from the inside out. So you might see some survey stakes and those kind of things, but we're not to the point yet where you're gonna see everything gone.
They've got heavy equipment in there as of today,
Yeah.
digging out through the back, and there's a couple of huge dumpsters that they're dumping in.
The Department of Water Resources gave them permission to, and the demolition permit has been approved for them to start digging up concrete at the concrete plant. There's a lot of concrete.
That's a lot of
to remove.
concrete.
So there's a lot there, and to,
You would expect that at a concrete factory.
yeah, it's amazing. So yes, sir, you will begin to see some activity over there.
I don't know who's monitoring what's going on after hours, but more often than not, there's no lock on those gates. They're just closed.
That is, they are supposed to be, whatever they're comfortable with is on them, because I told them that unfortunately we had, that is a pass-through area, and they needed to be very smart with any equipment and materials that were readily available that could be moved around.
So I figured I'd just bring it up in passing tonight.
So I know before I went, right after vacation, I met with DEQ and the builders, and Matt with Eagle Engineering was over there. There was about 15 of us, and we talked about the safety, job safety side. We also had to wait for them to get the gate unlocked, so it was locked that day. So, you know, I don't know how they're working, but I did express concern in reference to that.
Yeah.
But thank you. I'll send another email.
Item B, consider adoption of an interlocal agreement with Union County for the Union County Senior Nutrition Program the interlocal would be between the village and the county itself. That's the $5,803.20. I think y'all discussed it last meeting, but the resolution of the interlocal agreement itself still had draft watermark on it. That was the final version. We just didn't get draft off of it in time for that meeting, so resent that out with the packet so that the folks in the audience know what we're talking about. The county provides a hot meal program to senior citizens or those that are underprivileged. And the county they're full, their money is expended and they can't add anybody. So unfortunately, until somebody passes away or is able to get off of it, they don't add people. But they came to the towns in the county and asked, would you be interested in subsidizing your people that are in your town only? And we currently had four on the wait list that live in Lake Park. So the cost of that for all 4 people is $5,803. The council did budget the money to cover that. So these people will get off the wait list and go start receiving their meals. I believe we had 7 or 8 that receive it, and then 4 that were on the wait list. Is there a motion to approve the interlocal agreement? Jim made a motion, Joe second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Quick little discussion on the encroachment agreement with Windstream. That's probably a little strongly worded. We're not prepared to discuss an encroachment agreement. You're all aware of the Windstream kinetic construction that came down Lake Park Road. We being the village took the initial assumption that it's Windstream, and they do have an encroachment agreement that goes back to the developer to maintain what they have in the ground. They were putting in fiber. We assumed they would do it just like Ripple Fiber would and put everything in the ground. And quickly thereafter, we realized they weren't doing that. They were putting vertical pedestals every 2 or 3 houses. It didn't take long. Within 3 or 4 days of acknowledging it, the village had issued a stop work order to them. And we had a meeting the next day with one of their engineers who came out the day before and totally understood our concerns and asked for the grace to get it put in the ground. So we gave them that grace and to get everything cleaned up and move on. The village is currently, they have no engineered plans to go anywhere else in the village right now, although they have planned to finish the village by 2026, 2027. So they were actively working on it, but they now know they've got to go back to their drawing board to do handholds, everything in the ground, just like Ripple did. And we now taking the stance, as Indian Trail did, that although Windstream has an encroachment agreement, that's to maintain their current infrastructure. In fact, if they wanted to go behind the houses with pedestals, they probably could, but that's not what they want to do. They want to run it out the road. That's a quick line, straight down the road. So we've told them that it will require an encroachment agreement, just like we approved with Ripple, of some similarity anyway. So, and they understand that. I don't know whether those lines will go hot now or if they'll go live ever or what will happen with them, but they did want to preserve them to be able to come back and tag them if they needed to, when they decide to. I'm sure they will go live at some point in time. I'm assuming that was going to be a test area for Lake Park. I'm not sure, but that was all they had engineered, was 2 frost board.
So just to go back to Ripple Fiber for a second, if you go and take a look at some of the townhomes in the front yard, Ripple Fiber still has the orange pipes sticking up, and we've never finished some stuff there. They haven't ended that line. Is that?
We're now 18 months to 2 years and nobody's bothered to let anyone know.
I just noticed it last week. I was walking in the sidewalk and saw.
I need some addresses.
If you'll send that in.
Yeah.
Any other questions on that?
Not on that, but something else, Jeremy, over on Pratt, I was walking Sunday and noticed there was a lot of markings for water and gas lines on the other side. Are they, somebody doing something over the area?
On Pratt
around like down from our house, but across Lake Park. I meant Faith Church.
I don't know of anything this
Now,
morning.
we marked, when we did sidewalks, just
Sidewalks.
as a,
Maybe.
extra precaution,
Might have been that.
I had all utilities from back of curb 8 feet in
That might be
marked.
what it was.
The water department is real bad about coming and doing things and we don't have any idea.
I just seen it and I was thinking, I hope these guys aren't trying to sneak in over there on this.
No, no,
So I
no.
think you're gonna see something now too.
Yeah.
No, that likely was sidewalk, I forgot, she did.
I
out of
marked
abundance of
everything.
caution.
Yeah,
Called in
we made sure everything was covered, so we didn't have an awful.
Communications, Mark, community information?
Well, a couple things. First of all, Bob Grill and Wings. I spoke with him the other day. And he says, I said, how close are you to opening? He says, with his deep accent, about 2 weeks. And I said, 2 weeks? I said, how about, I said, you think maybe 3 or 4? He says, yeah, let's change it to 3 or 4. So somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks is probably his estimated time to open. When it gets the menu, he's working on the menu now. When he gets that done, he'll give me a copy and I'll post it on the sites and whatever.
Yeah, because he told me 2 months.
Yeah.
So,
Does it have a name?
yes, it's on the building. The sign's up.
And I made a post on social media about it. Man, there's quite a bit of interest in that type of food.
The name is Kebab and Wings, right?
Yeah.
Kebab grill and wings.
Kebab Grill.
It's a Mid-Eastern type food, but they're gonna also have hamburgers, submarines and so, yeah.
Wings.
A variety of the menu.
Anything else, Mark?
And, let's see here, that's about it on that. Basically, items for the newsletter. I got the municipal candidate for the upcoming election. We have 3 of them here with us tonight. And so I'll be on that. And Steve, we're still holding off on whether he's gonna win or not. So we got that. And let's see here. I'm going to throw out there the big item or the big calendar events coming between now and the end of the year. And it's coming. The National Night Out, the Fall Yard Sale, the Fall Festival, and the Christmas tree lighting. The dates on there so people can start planning for it. And do my usual reminders on the limbs of the sidewalks and all that kind of stuff. Anybody else got anything? Let me know, either now or in the next couple of weeks.
Would it be possible, and I'm just gonna put that, I know the Inquirer Journal usually does a little blurb for each candidate.
Oh, yeah.
But there are a lot of people that do not receive the Inquirer Journal. Would it be possible to reach out to the candidates that are running and ask them to submit like
3 of them already.
1 or 2 paragraphs
Just a
that
paragraph
we
or
could
two.
put in the newsletter of
Why
why you would like to be part of council?
you want to be on council, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, how long you've lived here, just some, because otherwise there's just a lot of people that may or may not know you.
Yeah, I'll send you each a copy of the for the villager that was in last time. We can see how they did it, paragraphs and stuff.
I just think because it closes, what, the 17th is the last date that you can register with, 18th of the
Yeah.
Board of Elections.
Yeah, that's
So
when
we-
Steve and I go.
So you could possibly, that would give you a couple additional weeks to get that ready before the end of the month.
Thought you said we were doing it like.
All right, if anybody has anything else for the newsletter, get it tomorrow. Council comments, Joe?
Well, first off, thank you candidates for coming out here tonight. It's great to see other people wanting to get involved. Appreciate it. Just Stevie, thanks for coming out. Thank you guys for coming out. Concern, I'll pass your information to Lori for you too.
Thank you for discussing the solicitation ordinance we were talking about, the equator that was assigned.
Yeah, we're working on that. So
Saying
that's
no
it.
solicitation.
Plus, I'll talk to you for a minute when we leave here too. Yeah.
Thank you.
And also, I want to thank Jeremy. That whole Windstream thing, he nipped it in the bud, took care of it quick, and did a really good job. Very professional. Got it taken care of, and got it disappeared. Windstream did a good job too. Of once they were acknowledged, they did a real good job of taking care of everything and dealing with it. But Jeremy stayed on top of that and took care of it. There was a lot of complaints, and did a real good job in that done.
Yeah.
No, I want to echo what Joe just said, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who played on the 4th of July and helped out. I wasn't there, I was not feeling, I was under the weather. I wasn't going to take anything out. Again, candidates welcome, glad you're joining, glad you have interest, and see people at National Night Out.
Yeah, thanks everybody for coming out tonight, the candidates as well. Jeremy, thanks for the Windstream as well. Also, thank you for this council for taking a project like these places with the stormwater and fixing them good for one time, that we're not putting rocks in year after year or 2 years or 3 years. Spending more money doing that than it is to fix it right
It hurts
now.
now, but it'll be better down the
Yeah,
road.
yeah, it is. So thanks to the village or the council for doing that.
Mark? Everything's pretty well been said at this point. Thank you for your great work on that and the 3 candidates that are here. And pretty much everything's been covered. Thank you.
Bruce?
Pretty much what everybody said already. The stormwater issues are not gonna get smaller, they're just gonna get larger. And we're trying to stay on top of it between Sherry, she's beating the heck out of it, trying to get it squared away. I try to help her as much as I can, and Jeremy here are on board with, it's gonna take some time, but it's gonna be better for everybody years down the road after I've retired out of here. Jeremy will probably still be here because he's younger, but I'm the old guy in the clan, so see what happens. I want to thank Joe for when he took over from Jeremy for 2 seasons, 2 meetings there, 2 seasons.
Felt like it.
Yeah, well, because Joe's had a lot on his plate too, with business and everything, and being short-handed, so, and the heat. And outside of that, just everybody try to stay cool and hydrate.
Yeah. Sheree?
If I remember correctly, Sarah told me that you had a birthday yesterday? Or the day before?
Yeah.
So happy belated.
Thank you.
Are you 25?
39.
Okay.
90,
Around 71.
Oh, the picture said you were 90.
I put a picture on Facebook out of AI that showed me at 90 years old.
Oh,
He
do
looks
you have
like-
any more
Yeah,
photos?
that's the
That's what I was about to say.
And I want to thank you, I want to thank Mark for pointing out to me that I'm the oldest one, so I should come through the door first.
Okay.
I know where he lives, so I'll take care of that later.
Sure. Yeah, I think the audience, candidates, Mr. Thomas, thank you for coming out. Certainly, I'll check that email. My phone number is also on that paper. If you send me an email and I don't reply in 24 hours, start calling me. And I live on Connor, 6908. If you don't answer, come knock on the door. You shouldn't have to do that, but if you don't get an email from me, for certain call me. Get back to you. Council, I appreciate the work. Windstream wasn't just me. Joe's the one that first started seeing the pedestal. Sheree was on vacation. I was trying to leave her alone, but there were some things I just couldn't. We had to get things worked out. Ken was working overtime on it, getting stop work orders drawn up. So it takes a village to run a village, but I appreciate what each and every one of you do. Our staff, the new hours are working, Sheree. Sarah seemed like I talked to her July 4th and she said it was going well. So anyway, thank you all for what you do. And Joe, thank you for May and June stepping in. I couldn't be here, bro. Appreciate it. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Mark's made a motion.
I'll second it.
Bruce second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Motion carries.